wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Last night there was an NFL game. Do y'all care? Ivy, do you care?
No. The Dallas Cowboys.
Ivy doesn't care. So
My Dallas Cowboys
pass.
beat the Seattle Seahawks. We're 9-3 right now. Okay, on our way to the Super Bowl this year.
Oh my goodness.
You already know what it is.
Now we have Ivy Rivera here. She's our guest co-host. And good morning, Tez.
Good morning, DJ Envy. Good morning, Ivy. Good morning, Charlamagne the Guy. Congratulations on Cowboys.
Peace, Tez.
How you feeling, Tez? It's Friday.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good and ready to get started on this front page news.
You want to get petty? Let's start getting petty. Let's go.
Yes, let's get petty. It was a petty night last night. Some folks enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it for sure. If you like your petty with politics, then you miss the debate between Governor Newsom and Governor DeSantis. They were calling it red versus blue, the South versus the West, and talking about the liberal policies and the conservative policies. And it started out fast and furious. Governor Newsom said, first things first, he want to make sure that everyone knows that neither one of them will be the nominee for their party in 2024.
That's a fact.
Now we have that's facts.
Jesus.
We have a few highlights. I'm gonna try to cover a few things. You're gonna have to watch it from beginning to end because it was just blows all the way through, but I tried to summarize it as best I can. Let's get straight to education. Let's hear quickly what Governor DeSantis had to say about education.
I actually have something that I brought that some parents have objected to. So this is a book that's in some of the schools in California. Florida, this is not consistent with our standards, called Gender Queer. This is pornography. It's cartoons. It's aimed at children, and it's wrong. So this should not be in schools. And so we're going to stand for the rights of parents. I think we need to do that nationwide. I don't think you can have a situation where some states just trample on the rights of parents. Parents have a fundamental right to direct the education and upbringing of their kids.
Now, Governor Newsom, now he had a prop. So for those who, obviously you can't see what we looked at on the video, he brought up a prop of a book, that he was using as an example. Governor Newsom had this to say in his response about parental rights.
As it relates to parental rights, come on, California, it's in our Constitution, parental engagement. It's called the LCFF process. We actually require parental engagement on curriculum development. And we don't, complete lie, we don't require K through third grade sexual education. That doesn't happen until middle school. What you're doing is using education as a sword for your cultural purge.
Now, they also went back and forth about crime. That was a big issue. And let's take a listen to what DeSantis had to say about crime. And obviously, he was talking about California. Let's listen to what he had to say.
People are leaving California in droves, largely because public safety has collapsed. You go, when Californians come to Florida, one of the things they'll say, it's almost like an out-of-body experience. They can go to the store, get toothpaste off the shelf, pay for it, and leave, because in a lot of these places in California, everything's under lock and key because they basically legalized retail theft. They have chosen in California to put the interests of the criminals over public safety. They're easier on sex offenders. They're easier on all these crimes that are leading to a collapse in the quality of life. And I think it's interesting. Gavin Newsom was mayor of San Francisco. So he took the San Francisco model, turned that into a template for California's collapse. Now the left wants to take the California model and use that as a template for America's collapse.
It was also interesting. He brought a prop with that as well. He brought a prop of feces to show how much feces was in the streets of San Francisco. Yes.
He carried it with him the whole time, so he had that in his car.
He had a lot of props. It was like
that.
a Real Housewife.
Jesus.
It was like a Real Housewife reunion. He had a lot of props he kept pulling out of his pocket, and he had a map that showed all of the feces that's on the ground in San Francisco. And so Governor Newsom had this to say in his response about crime. He had a lot more, but these are just the highlights.
We're near 50-year lows, down 55% violent crimes in the state of California from the 1990s. And I want to compare and contrast that with the issue in Florida that you didn't mention, and that's the murder rate. The issue is 7 of the top
Those numbers
10,
were part of the murder rate.
7 of the top 10 murder rates in the United States of America are red states. He has a 66% higher gun death rate than the state of California. He has a higher murder rate. Go to places like Jacksonville. Go to places like Orlando. Go to places like Tampa. The murder rate's off the charts compared to cities like San Francisco. And you know what? You had one of the worst mass shootings in American history, Parkland. 17 kids were gunned down, lives lost, 17 others, lives torn asunder. You made it easier for felons to get guns without background checks, without any training.
Yo, all of y'all gonna get off Jacksonville. I'm tired of y'all white men attacking Jacksonville this year, okay? Between Malcolm Gladwell and Gavin Newsom, I don't like Jacksonville taking all these shots. But also, I didn't see the point of the debate last night. It was unnecessary. It just seemed like an attention grab for Fox News, an attention grab for DeSantis, an attention grab for Newsom. I have no idea why that debate happened, and to me, it just shows how unserious everyone is taking this crucial moment in American politics.
I was honestly waiting for solutions, but
I didn't get any.
None of that.
And for everybody, you know, I see people loving on Gavin Newsom this morning. It's not hard to look better than Joe Biden. It's not hard to look better than Ron DeSantis. And just because you look better than those two people doesn't mean you should be the nominee for president.
Yeah, well, he certainly maybe could use him as a surrogate. That's for sure. I mean, because I want to say that I do appreciate at least the ability that Newsom had the guts to go over to Fox News and basically debate two people at one time. You know, Hannity and DeSantis. So I give him some credit. Some credit for that. But I just like seeing good policy. Just good debates. But I hear what you're saying, Charlamagne. Like, what is the end result? But anytime if we can watch verses for hip hop, I'm always down to look at a verses between the right and the left. Have that conversation.
I'm with it. It just got to make sense because I don't think Gavin Newsom did himself any favors because what he showed me last night is he could never galvanize support in the Rust Belt or the South. Like I don't think he could ever put together the type of rainbow coalition it would take to be president because when I tuned in last night, I saw him answer the abortion question, the LGBTQ question, and the border control question. He basically agreed with a lot of Republican talking points in regards to border security. He didn't really answer the abortion question, and the fact he can't simply say yes, that image Ron held up is inappropriate for kids. It's troubling, and it's the kind of things that will keep him from ever winning over the Midwest and the South, if you ask me. But what do I know?
All right. Well, that is front page news.
That's front page news.
Yep. Tess, we'll see you in a couple of minutes. Everybody else, Get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, phone lines are wide open again. 800-585-1051. It's a Friday. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Ivy Rivera is our guest co-host this morning.
yes, sir.
And let's get in some front page news. What up, Tez?
What's going on, DJ Envy? Good morning, Ivy. Good morning, Charlamagne the God.
Peace, Taz, the hood whisperer.
All right. Now, last night, the Cowboys beat the Seahawks 41-35.
I'm glad you know that. On our way to the Super Bowl, okay?
Boy.
It's going to be the Dallas Cowboys, Usher, and I don't know who, but we're going to be in the Super Bowl in February. You hear me? So anybody out there, you know what I'm saying, you selling sweet tickets, let me know, okay? I need to take my father to a Super Bowl, all right, to go see the Dallas Cowboys. All right, he didn't tase a Marine on 9/11 at MetLife Stadium during the Cowboys-Jets game for nothing.
Is
okay?
that a true story?
Facts.
True story.
Facts.
True story.
Facts.
Okay?
Wow.
True story. Okay?
Damn, Daddy.
9/11.
He deserves it. Okay?
Yes. Facts.
He didn't know it was a Marine,
That's
though.
real.
I don't even know how you got the taser in the building.
He's from South Carolina. He just came up here minding his business, going into MetLife Stadium, you know what I mean? Got into a scuffle with a man who ended up being a Marine on 9/11. It just happened during the Cowboys-Jets game, okay? He deserves to be there, all right? I promise you, I'll make sure I search him myself before we walk in that stadium. All right? Okay?
Well, honestly, not to bring back old news, but thank God he did have the taser.
Yeah. Sure.
You saying you don't think he would have been able to hang? Is that what you're saying?
Because he was the only person there that if I remember the video
That's
correctly.
not true.
Oh, there was a bunch of
them? No. Yeah, he had some cousins from Moncks Corner. They was all getting it.
Oh, never mind.
Come on now.
Okay, yeah. Pops can hold his own.
Yeah, they was all getting it. You don't fight fair no way.
Oh, damn.
That's not how he was raised.
Oh, okay.
All right.
he reliving the moment over here.
That's how I was raised.
That's how I was raised.
Jesus Christ.
Fair.
All right. Well, let's go right to Santos.
Yeah, it was more spiciness going on yesterday. GOP Representative George Santos, he continues to refuse to resign ahead of an expulsion vote today, the schedule for today. Now, instead, he is arguing that he is being bullied in the wake of his scathing ethics report on conduct. Apart from the Ethics Committee investigation, Santos has pleaded not guilty to 23 federal charges, including allegations of fraud related to the COVID-19, unemployment benefits, misuse of campaign funds, and lying about his personal finance on his House reports. Now, Thursday at a combative news conference outside the Capitol, Santos remained defiant as he lashed out at other members of Congress. Let's take a listen.
If I leave, they win. If I leave, the bullies take place. This is bullying. the chair of the committee putting out a motion to expel, just introducing it and not calling it privilege, was designed to force me to resign. But he didn't even have the fortitude to go ahead and call the privilege. He had someone else do it, someone who's actually just recently done one on me, which is Congressman D'Esposito. So the reality of it is it's all theater. It's theater for the cameras, it's theater for the microphones, it's theater for the American people at the expense of the American people because no real work's getting done.
Is it all theater to ask? Like, what's the biggest issue that they're upset about Santos at? Like, what's the biggest offense?
Maybe the money on the OnlyFans, the Hermes bags, that he was in there spending, the Botox.
So misuse of campaign funds, basically.
Correct.
The misuse of campaign funds. Yeah, the line on his resume, the back to back to back. I mean, it's just been nonstop, back to back stuff with him. But
how much did he spend on OnlyFans? Do we know?
Let's look it up. I got it right here. Charlamagne, I think I sent you some of that as well. You
Yeah,
want to know price on OnlyFans?
I don't know what the number is. I just know he spent some campaign funds on OnlyFans and Sephora. I don't know what the exact number is.
Yeah, we looked that. Yeah, they didn't put the exact number, but he did spend $4,000 at Hermes.
That's
on
a
the
belt.
Hermes bag.
Yeah, Hermes, that was a belt. He bought a belt.
He didn't get the bag.
No, he didn't get a bag. Bag would have been 10 grand. He bought a belt.
Right.
Okay. Well, he went full. Well, in that press conference, he pretty much went full Nino Brown. For the kids that don't know that's from New Jack City. He said if he leaves, he's taking a few with him. He pointed out how other Congress people also have been inconsistent. So if you're going to kick him out, you need to take some other ones. And he name dropped Representative Jamal Bowen. Take a listen.
Let's talk about consistency. We have a member of Congress that earlier this year took a plea deal to obstructing a congressional hearing. That's not the plea deal he took, right? I'm kidding. He took a plea deal for pulling a fire alarm which obstructed and delayed an official hearing and proceeding on the House floor. Now, had it been one of the members of the media, had it been a Republican member of Congress, we all know that person would have been charged with obstructing a congressional hearing, just like the somewhat 140 people sitting in prison right now because of January 6th. But Jamal Bowman gets a pass. That's why today at noon, I'm going to be introducing a privilege motion for expulsion of convicted and guilty pleaded Congressman Jamal Bowman. And I stand there. I think that's consistency. Let's hold our own accountable, but let's make sure that we do it with the precedent of the House.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't misuse campaign funds, then you simply can't misuse campaign funds. If precedent has already been set, then, you got to follow that precedent regardless of what he spent it on. Because, I do know when people hear that he spent money at OnlyFans and Sephora, people are like, well, what's the big deal? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
what's the issue?
It was campaign funds. He should be using campaign funds for campaign.
Absolutely.
And if he did,
he said he's going to dig in everybody's record. Yeah.
Like if people heard that you were spending campaign funds on like prostitutes and drugs, they would understand it better, right? But when you hear Sephora and OnlyFans, you're like, well, what's the big deal? The big deal is he misused campaign funds.
Correct.
Well, his point is also he's saying he would be the sixth lawmaker that would be expelled from Congress. But his point is he never, he hasn't been to trial yet. Basically, he hasn't been found guilty of this yet. So he's saying that since he's willing to fight it out, they should wait, until to see if he's actually guilty. And Bowman actually pled guilty. So that's kind of his argument. They kind of has a point with that, though. When you look at others, should you put him out, if he hasn't been through due process or?
Oh, I wasn't
about the ethics part.
I wasn't aware he wasn't through due process. I thought they already.
Well,
knew.
they did determine that the funds were misused.
Gotcha.
So I guess if you want to consider that due process, but he's saying that he says he's not guilty. So,
but let me ask you a question. I know in a lot of times people use other funds and then they reimburse it. Is that not the same thing? Can he have did that? Is that possible?
But he didn't.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it's possible. But you do see this a lot in campaign, on misuse of campaign funds. And yes, people have reimbursed it, took it out as a loan, said they use it for one thing when it was something else. That's not actually odd. But it was really also the line on his resume that all started. Remember, he said he graduated from certain places. His mother survived, I think he said, the Holocaust. He said he was Jewish. I mean, it's just been back to back. He had a list of lines: his high school resume, college resume. Said he worked at Goldman Sachs. He said he lost employees at the Pulse nightclub. He said he had a nonprofit. He said his mother fled socialism in Europe. So it's just they're just over Santos, period, across the board. So it's the funds, also the resume,
the line,
and everything. Yeah, just lying.
Yeah, George Santos is just another example of how unserious America's politics are. And the fact that, all of that can be laid out and it's still even being debated if he should be expelled is laughable. If they don't expel him today, then once again, it's just another example of how unserious American politics is.
All right. Well, that is front page news. Now,
and make sure you subscribe to Tesla and Figaro's podcast, the Straight Shot No Chaser podcast on the Black Effect iHeartRadio podcast network, and follow at Tesla and Figaro on all social media platforms.
All right. Now, when we come back, Nick Cannon will be joining us. He has his artist with him, Klondike Blonde, and we're gonna kick it with them when we come back. You got Gigolo? We got any of his music in the system? No.
Oh man.
We don't. All right. Well. Damn. The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up. Early in the morning. The Breakfast Club.